Learn how to crochet a blanket with hearts and make this delightful Bobbled Hearts baby blanket crochet pattern. This beautifully textured baby blanket is fun to make and looks incredible when complete. You can easily adjust the size to make it as a crochet throw blanket. Whether you're looking for a baby shower gift pattern, a newborn blanket pattern, or ideas for a unique afghan, this easy to follow blanket pattern is an excellent choice.
Hello from Halifax. I'm Jo with Jo the World Creations.
This pattern and all the details are available to view for free on my website, or you can purchase the ad-free print-ready PDF, and there are links to both of those right below this video. For this pattern, you can use any size 3 light yarn. For a hook size, use an H hook. To start, we're going to make a slip knot. Place your slip knot on your hook and pull tight. Now we're going to chain 111. Please refer to the written pattern for the multiples required and exact instructions if you'd like to make the blanket a different size. You go ahead and make 111 starting chains and then come back to the video. I've just finished making 111 starting chains. I recommend waiting until you've made several rows before measuring your work. If after several rows, for example after row 4, if you're not happy with the width of the blanket, you can start again with a different hook size or with a different number of starting chains, and you can refer to the written pattern for how to adjust the size. With our starting chains now made, we're going to begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to be working into these starting chains, and we are going to be working into the back ridge loops, which are these bumps along the back. We're going to start by working into the second chain from the hook. Here's the first, here's the second. Rotate your chain so you can find those back bumps. We're going to insert our hook into the second bump, and into this second chain, we're going to single crochet. Working into the second chain from the hook, rotate, insert your hook under that back bump, and single crochet. You're welcome to use stitch markers at any point if you find that helpful. For example, you could put a stitch marker in the top of the first stitch made in every row. We're now going to work into the next chain, still under the back ridge loop, and into this next chain we're going to double crochet. Now we're going to begin the repeat portion of the row, which is what we're going to be repeating all the way across. The first step in our repeat is to work into the next chain, and into the next chain we're going to single crochet. Working in the next chain, single crochet. And the final step in our repeat is to work into the next chain, still under that back bump, and double crochet. These are the steps we're going to be repeating all the way across. In the next chain, single crochet, and in the next chain, double crochet. You go ahead and repeat single crochet in the next chain, and then in the next chain, double crochet. And you go ahead and do this all the way across the row. I'm almost finished working all the way across. Nothing special happens at the end of the row, but let's finish it together. I've been repeating those same steps. I made a single crochet and then a double crochet, and I have 2 chains left. In the second last chain, we single crochet. And in the last chain, double crochet. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 110 stitches. In fact, every row in this blanket has 110 stitches. Once again, I'd recommend waiting before you measure your work. Wait until after row 4. The row we just finished, row 1, was a right side row, meaning that the front of our work or the front of the blanket is facing us. You can tell it's a right side row because this starting tail is on the left side. We're now going to start row 2. We are going to be repeating row 2 many times throughout this blanket pattern. So I'll go slowly when we do it the first time. First thing we do is chain 1 and turn. This is now a wrong side row, meaning that the back of our work or the back of our blanket is facing us. And you can tell it's a wrong side row because the starting tail is on the right. In this pattern, we always work into the very first stitch. This is the stitch that's attached to the chain 1. First thing we're going to do in row 2 is work into this first stitch and single crochet. Into this first stitch, single crochet. Now in the next stitch, we're going to double crochet. Working in the next stitch, double crochet. Now we're going to begin the repeat portion of the row. This is what we're going to be repeating all the way across. First step in our repeat is to work into the next stitch. Into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet. And the last step in our repeat is to work into the next stitch and double crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. These are the steps we're going to repeat all the way across the row. Working in the next stitch, we're going to make a single crochet. And note that every time we make a single crochet, we're always making that into the top of a double crochet from the previous row. Working in the next stitch, single crochet. And then we're going to make a double crochet in the next stitch. And whenever we make a double crochet, we're always making that into a single crochet stitch, the top of a single crochet stitch from the previous row. The next stitch, double crochet. And these are the steps we're repeating all the way across. In the next stitch, single. In the next stitch, double. You go ahead and repeat those steps all the way across the row. I'm almost finished working all the way across. Nothing special happens at the end of the row. You're still repeating the exact same steps. Here I've made a single crochet followed by a double crochet stitch, and I have 2 stitches left. In the second last stitch, single crochet. And in the last stitch, double crochet. Once again, you should have a total of 110 stitches. At the very beginning of the row, we made a chain 1 here. This chain or any chains never count as stitches. Only count your single crochet and double crochet stitches. We're now going to do row 3. And for row 3, we're going to do the exact same thing we just did and repeat row 2. Let's do that together. To start row 3, which is a repeat of row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 3 is a right side row, and the front of our work is now facing us. We do the exact same thing we just did in the previous row. We start in the first stitch and single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. And then repeat in the next stitch, single crochet. And in the next stitch, double crochet. And you repeat those steps all the way across. You go ahead and repeat single crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch, all the way across the row. I've just finished working all the way across, and that concludes row 3. We're now going to start row 4, which is where the fun really begins. To start row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 4 is a wrong side row. There are 2 different ways to follow along with this pattern. You can refer to the detailed written instructions, or you can follow the chart. I'm going to be referring to the written instructions throughout this tutorial. If you're following the chart, each row is read from right to left. Every time you see a white square on the chart, it means to single crochet. Every time you see a lightly shaded square on the chart, it means to double crochet. And every time you see a black dot, it means to make a bobble stitch. We are now at row 4, so this is the row that you'd be following for the chart. We're here at row 4, we've chained 1 and turned. To keep all the instructions concise, the pattern no longer says in the next stitch. Whenever it says to do something, you're always going to work 1 stitch in the next stitch. The first step in the row is to single crochet in the next stitch and then double crochet in the next stitch, and to do that 5 times. That means to work across 10 stitches. Let's do that now. Essentially, we're going to be alternating between single crochet and double crochet over the next 10 stitches. Starting in the first stitch, we're going to single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. These instructions in the square brackets, we've now completed those once. We need to do this a total of 5 times. In the next stitch, single. In the next stitch, double. There's twice. In the next stitch, single. In the next stitch, double. There's 3. Single. In the next stitch, double. We've now completed those instructions 4 times. We've worked over 8 stitches so far. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. We've now made 10 stitches. The first step in the row is now complete. Now we're going to make a single crochet stitch in the next stitch. In the next stitch, single crochet. And now in the next stitch, we're going to make a bobble stitch. In this stitch here, we're going to make a bobble. A bobble in this pattern is a double crochet 5 together, all in the same stitch. Everything we do when we make this bobble is all going to be in the next stitch. Here's how to do a bobble. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 2 loops on your hook. There's our first of 5 we're going to make. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 3 loops left on your hook. Now we've done 2. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 4 loops left on our hook. We've done 3 so far. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 6 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 5 loops left. We've now done 4, we have 1 more to go. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have 7 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. We now have 6 loops on our hook, and we are ready for the final step. Yarn over and pull that yarn through all 6 loops. And there's our first bobble. The next stitch after a bobble is always going to be a single crochet stitch. And when we make that single crochet stitch in the next stitch, I recommend making it quite tightly. Not too tightly, but just maybe a little more tightly than you normally do when it's the stitch after your bobble. We've just made our bobble. We can now move on to the next instructions, which says to single crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to do that 16 times, working across 32 stitches. Working in the very next stitch, make a single crochet quite tightly. After making that single crochet, you can see that your bobble is going to pop out of the other side, which is the front of the blanket. And you see it a little bit on the back, but not too much. In the next stitch, we're going to double crochet. And now we've repeated those instructions once. We need to do this a total of 16 times. Do it one more time together. In the next stitch, single crochet. And in the next stitch, double crochet. We've now repeated those instructions twice, and you go ahead and repeat them a total of 16 times, working across 32 stitches. We've worked across 4 stitches so far. You go ahead and complete those instructions until you've worked over 32 stitches, and then come back to the video. I've just finished working across 32 stitches. That's 32 stitches after my bobble. Here's my bobble, or more importantly, the top of the bobble. The next stitch is my first of 32. It's the top of my first single crochet stitch. The next is this double crochet stitch, and let's count them from here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. We've now completed those instructions. Do you see how there's a star here and a star here? The next step is to repeat the instructions from this star to this star, all the way across until there are 22 stitches left in the row. One thing you may find helpful to do is to count the number of stitches from the end of the row and put a stitch marker in the 22nd stitch from the end of the row. This will help tell you when to stop repeating those instructions. So you can see exactly what I've done. I'll count my stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, and 22. This will help me know that I need to repeat these steps all the way to the stitch marker. Before we pick up right where we left off, I'm going to place another stitch marker. In this pattern, stitch markers can definitely be your friend. I'm going to place a stitch marker in the top of the last stitch that I made. This way, if I run into any trouble or if I forget my stitch count, I can always refer back to the stitch marker and know that I'm starting the instructions again from this stitch marker to this one. So now we go back to this first step right after this first star, and we single crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch times 5. Let's do that now. Single crochet, then double. That's 1. You go ahead and repeat those steps 5 times. I've just completed those steps 5 times and worked across 10 stitches. Here was my last stitch, which we're not counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we make a single crochet in the next stitch, followed by a bobble stitch in the next stitch. In the next stitch, make a single crochet. And in the next stitch, make a bobble. We've just completed those steps. Now we're on to the last step where we single crochet, then double crochet times 16. Working in the next stitch after a bobble, always make it nice and tight. In the next stitch, double crochet. You go ahead and repeat those steps 16 times. I've just repeated those steps 16 times, and I'm now at the stitch marker. Here was my bobble stitch. There's the top of the bobble, and then we worked over 32 stitches. We've now completed that repeat, and there are now 22 stitches left in the row. If you're following the instructions for how to adjust the size, you would continue repeating these steps, the instructions in between the stars, until there are 22 stitches left. That's all you need to do to adjust the size. Once there are 22 stitches left, we have some more instructions to follow. First thing we're going to do is the same thing we did at the start. Single crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to do that 5 times across 10 stitches. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and I'm going to place it in the top of the last stitch I just completed. This really helps if you ever lose track of where you are. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. You go ahead and repeat those steps 5 times. I've just worked across 10 stitches. Here was the last stitch before I did that, so we're not counting that. Going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and then make a bobble stitch in the next stitch. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch, make a bobble stitch. And finally, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch times 5 or across the last 10 stitches. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. And repeat those steps 5 times. I've repeated those steps 4 times so far. I have to do it one more time. There are 2 stitches left in the row. In the second last stitch, single crochet, and in the last stitch, double crochet. And that now completes row 4. As you can see, there's also a detailed explanation of these instructions if you find that helpful. You can now remove any stitch markers that you had in the row. We're now on row 5, which says to repeat row 2. To start row 5, which is a repeat of row 2, we chain 1 and turn. This is a right side row, so the front of our blanket is now facing us, and you can see our first bobble here. In the first stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet, and repeat single crochet and double crochet in the next stitch all the way across. As you approach a bobble, nothing special happens. I've just made a single crochet and then a double, so my next stitch is a single crochet followed by a double crochet, and I'm still repeating these steps. When you go to work in your bobble, you're going to work in under the top 2 loops of this bobble stitch. You ignore all of this and just make a regular single crochet in the top of this bobble. Working in the top of the bobble, single crochet. Followed by the same steps, a double crochet in the next stitch. You go ahead and repeat single crochet and then double crochet all the way across. I've just finished working all the way across. We're now going to do row 6 together, and hopefully after we do row 6 together, you'll be a pro at following along with the written directions and you can do the rest of the blanket yourself. To start row 6, we're going to chain 1 and turn. The first thing we're going to do is single crochet in the next stitch, then double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to do that a total of 4 times, or across 8 stitches. Starting in the first stitch, single crochet, then double crochet. There's completing those instructions once. In the next stitch, single, then double. There's twice. The next stitch, single, the next double. We've done that 3 times so far. We've so far worked across 6 stitches. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch, double crochet. We've now worked across 8 stitches. The next step is to single crochet in the next stitch and make a bobble in the next stitch. And let's just pause there for now. We'll make a single crochet and then a bobble. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch, make a bobble. We just made a bobble, and now we need to single crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and we'll pause there. In the next stitch, single crochet, in the next stitch, double crochet. Now we need to make a single crochet in the next stitch, followed by a bobble in the next stitch. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch, make another bobble. Hopefully you're a pro at bobbles right now, so I'm just going to fast forward till after I've made a bobble. And there's my bobble. Now we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to do that 15 times across 30 stitches. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. You go ahead and repeat those steps 15 times. I've just repeated those steps 15 times and I've worked over 30 stitches. Let's take a closer look. Here is my last bobble stitch. So I'm not counting the bobble. Here is 30 stitches where I've alternated single crochet and double crochet. I've done that 15 times. Now we're going to repeat the instructions from the first star to the last star across the row until there are 22 stitches left. Let's place 2 stitch markers in our work. First, let's place a stitch marker in the last stitch we just made. This is the last stitch of the first time we've completed those instructions. And then count your stitches from the end, count 22, and place a stitch marker in the 22nd stitch. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. We are now going to repeat what we've done from the very start to this stitch marker. We're going to repeat it from the next stitch until we get to the stitch marker. You go ahead and repeat the instructions starting here until you get to here, and then come back to the video. I've just finished repeating those instructions. I'm now at the stitch with the stitch marker. Let me do a quick recap of what I've just done. After our first repeat of those instructions, I placed a stitch marker in this stitch, and then I single crocheted and double crocheted across 8 stitches, made a single crochet stitch, and then a bobble. Then I single crocheted, double crocheted, single crocheted, and made another bobble. Then I single crocheted and double crocheted across the next 30 stitches. I'm now going to remove this stitch marker from here, place it in the top of this last double crochet stitch. Once again, if you were making this blanket a different size, you would continue to repeat the instructions that we just repeated ourselves until you have 22 stitches left. Now we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch times 4 across 8 stitches, which is what we did at the very start. We're going to single crochet and double crochet and repeat that 4 times. I've now repeated that 4 times. Next, we're going to single crochet and make a bobble. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch, make a bobble. And there's my bobble. Now we're going to single crochet and then double crochet. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, double crochet. And then finally single crochet in the next stitch and then make a bobble. In the next stitch, single crochet, and in the next stitch make a bobble. And there's my bobble. And the last step in the row is to single crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch times 4 across the last 8 stitches. Hopefully you're a pro at this, and you're simply going to single crochet and then double crochet across the last 8 stitches. I really hope this video has given you all the tools you need to complete the rest of the blanket. You can follow along with the written instructions or the chart. You go ahead and complete the blanket body, and after you finish the blanket body, don't fasten off. You can come back to the video and we will do the border together. To show you how to make the blanket border, I've made a small swatch here. I have a little bobble on the front so you can tell which is the right side. Let's just pretend this is the finished blanket body. Your last row of the blanket body is a wrong side row, so you should have ended right here. To start border round 1, we're going to chain 1. We are not going to turn. The wrong side should be facing you. We're going to start by working down the side, and we're going to single crochet evenly down the side. Exact stitch count and the exact stitch placement is not important. The goal is to have evenly spaced out single crochet stitches down and then up the side. You can work under 1 loop, or there could be places where you want to work under 2 loops, and that's okay. We just don't want to be working into spaces around the stitches. It's best to work into 1 loop, or there could be a situation where you think it's best to work under 2 loops. As a guide, you can make a single crochet stitch at the end of every row. Here's our first row. I'm going to make my first single crochet stitch here. I'm going to make mine under 1 loop and just single crochet. And now I'm going to single crochet all the way down working under 1 loop or 2, making a single crochet stitch at the end of every row. You go ahead and do that all the way down. I've just single crocheted evenly all the way down. We're going to rotate our work to work along the bottom, working into the very first chain and always working under 2 loops. We're going to make 3 single crochet stitches. In this first chain, make 3 single crochet stitches all in the same chain. And this is our first corner. Now we're going to make 1 single crochet stitch in each chain across the bottom, always working under 2 loops. We're going to do this all the way until there is 1 chain left. Working in the next chain under 2 loops, and it can get a little tight, just take your time. Make 1 single crochet. And then single crochet in each chain until you have 1 chain left. I now have 1 chain left. Into this last chain, make 3 single crochet stitches, all in the same chain. This is our second corner. Now we're going to work up the side, and we're going to do the exact same thing as we did when we worked down the side. You can work under 1 loop or 2. Make a single crochet stitch at the end of every row and single crochet all the way up. I've now single crocheted evenly all the way up. We're now going to work across the top. In the first stitch across the top, make 3 single crochet stitches, all in the same stitch. Now we're going to make 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch across the top until there is 1 stitch left. Working across the top, make a single crochet stitch in each stitch until there's 1 stitch left. In the last stitch, make 3 single crochet stitches. Here's our last stitch, and we're going to make 3 single crochet stitches all in the same stitch to create our 4th and final corner. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch that we made in this round. I'm not working into the chain 1, I'm working into the top of the first single crochet stitch, and into that stitch we're going to slip stitch to join. To start the border round 2, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. The front of your work should now be facing you. We are going to skip the very first stitch, the stitch that's attached to the chain. This is the slip stitch that joined the previous round, and this stitch never gets worked into. For this round, we're going to be making a single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way around except at the corners. The corner is the middle of 3 single crochet stitches that you made in each corner in the previous round. Until we get to a corner stitch, you simply make 1 single crochet stitch. This first one's a little tricky as we come up to a corner quite quickly. Let's go through this together. We're going to skip this first stitch, never work into it. Then we come up to the 3 single crochet stitches made in the corner in the previous round. So in the next stitch, we're going to make 1 single crochet stitch. Skipping that joining slip stitch, working in the next stitch, make 1 single crochet stitch. You may find it helpful to place a stitch marker in the first stitch made in every round. The next stitch is the corner stitch. So into this stitch, we'll make 3 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now we resume making 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch until the next corner. You go ahead and make 1 single crochet stitch until you get to the next corner, and then make 3, then resume making 1 until you get to the next corner and make 3, resume making 1 till you get to the next corner and make 3, and then resume making 1 until you're back at the place where you started. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I have 1 last stitch to work into. Nothing special happens in this last stitch. I'm making 1 single crochet stitch. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round. Working into the top of that first stitch, slip stitch to join. Before we start the next round, I'm just going to take a moment and weave in this loose end. Picking up right where we left off, we're going to do border round 3. And for border round 3, we're going to repeat what we just did and repeat border round 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to skip the joining slip stitch and make 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch until we get to the corner. The corner stitch is the middle of the 3 single crochet stitches that we made in the previous round. Into this corner stitch, we make 3 single crochet stitches, but for the stitch before and the stitch after, we just make 1. I'm in the stitch before, so I'm making 1 stitch, and then in the corner, we make 3, all in the same stitch. And then you resume making 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch until the next corner stitch. And you do this all the way around until you're back at the first stitch made in the round. I'm almost finished working all the way around. Here was my 4th and final corner. Then I made a single crochet and I have 1 last stitch to work into. Working in the last stitch, single crochet. To finish the round, slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round to join. To start border round 4, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. The right side of our work is now facing us. We're going to skip this joining slip stitch, and in the next stitch, we're going to single crochet. Working in the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to do something we haven't done yet in this pattern. We're going to make a triple crochet stitch. Some people call them treble crochet stitches. I call them triples. And here's how to make one. Yarn over twice. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 3 loops left on your hook. Yarn over, pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the remaining 2 loops. And there's our first triple crochet stitch. For this round, we're going to be alternating single crochet in the next stitch, triple crochet in the next stitch, all the way around except at the corners. In the corner stitch, which is the middle of the 3 single crochet stitches made in the previous round, into this corner stitch, we're going to do something special. But up until that point, we're alternating between these 2 stitches. Here's my first corner stitch. We want the stitch before the corner to be a triple crochet stitch. However, we want to keep going with this pattern where we make a single and then a triple. So if your stitch before the corner is a single crochet stitch, all we need to do is make a single crochet and a triple crochet stitch in the same stitch. However, if the stitch before your corner stitch is a triple crochet, that's fine. You just make one triple crochet stitch. But since my pattern is working out that it goes single, triple, I'm going to make a single and a triple in this stitch. In the stitch before the corner, just because I need to, I'm making a single, and in the same stitch, a triple. Now I am ready to work in the corner stitch. In the corner stitch, we are going to do three things. We're going to make a single crochet, then a triple, then another single crochet, all in the same stitch. In the stitch, single crochet, in the same stitch, triple crochet, and in the same stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, the stitch after this corner stitch, we're going to make a triple crochet stitch. The next stitch, triple. Now we go back to repeating. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, triple crochet. In the next stitch, single crochet. In the next stitch, triple crochet. And we're going to repeat this all the way into the next corner stitch. I'm almost at the corner stitch. Here's my single crochet and triple crochet. It's okay if your pattern is working out differently. We want the stitch before this corner stitch here to be a triple crochet. If your stitch before this stitch is a single and so you can make a triple crochet following the pattern, great. Just make a triple crochet stitch and then move on to the corner. However, as you can see here, once again, my pattern's not working out, so in the stitch before the corner, I need to make a single and a triple in the same stitch. In the stitch before the corner, I'm making a single and a triple. Now we're at the corner stitch. In the corner stitch, we make a single crochet, a triple crochet, and another single crochet, all in the same stitch. The stitch after the corner, we make a triple crochet. Then you resume in the next stitch, single, in the next stitch, triple. We've worked in 2 corner stitches so far. You go ahead and repeat these steps until you've made your 4th corner and then come back to the video. I've now worked in all 4 corners. Here was my last corner. And then in the stitch after the corner, I've made a triple crochet stitch. Now we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and triple crochet in the next stitch. And you're going to repeat those steps until you're back at the first stitch made in the round. I have 1 stitch left to work into. The last stitch of the round should be a triple crochet stitch. However, once again, my pattern is not working out. If this is the situation for you, all you need to do is make a single crochet and triple crochet in the same stitch. However, if your stitches are working out and your last stitch is a triple crochet, that's wonderful. Here's my last stitch, and into this stitch, I'm going to make a single and a triple. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch in the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round. Working in the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. For border round 5, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to skip the joining slip stitch, work into the next stitch. This is the top of the last triple crochet stitch that we made. Into this stitch, we are going to single crochet. In the next stitch, which is the top of a single crochet stitch from the previous round, we are going to triple crochet. Now we're going to repeat in the next stitch, single, and in the next stitch, triple. And we're going to repeat these steps until we get to the next corner stitch. In this round, your stitches will all work out because we set it up in the previous round, so you don't need to worry about the stitch before the corner stitch. The corner stitch in this round is the triple crochet stitch that we made in the corner in between single crochet stitches. In this corner stitch, you're going to do the exact same thing we did in the previous round in each corner, and we're going to do a single crochet, triple crochet, single crochet in the corner stitch. But until then, simply single crochet, and in the next stitch, triple, all the way to the corner stitch. I'm now at the corner stitch. My last stitch before the corner is a triple crochet. Now I'm ready to work in the corner. Into this corner stitch, single crochet, same stitch, triple, and in the same stitch, make a single crochet. In the next stitch, the stitch after that corner stitch, we're going to make a triple crochet. In the next stitch, triple crochet. You go ahead and complete these instructions a total of 4 times. After working all the way around, after working in the 4th corner, come back to the video and we'll finish the round together. I've now worked in all 4 corners. Here was my last corner stitch, and in the stitch after the corner, I've made a triple crochet. Now we're simply going to repeat single crochet in the next stitch and triple crochet in the next stitch all the way to the end. Now we're simply going to repeat in the next stitch, single crochet, in the next stitch, triple crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way to the end. I only have 2 stitches left. In the second last stitch, single crochet, and in the last stitch, triple crochet. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round. Working the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. For border round 6, we are going to chain 1 and turn. The right side of our work is now facing us. Once again, we skip the first stitch, this joining slip stitch. And we're going to work into the next stitch, which is the top of the last triple crochet stitch. For this round only, we are going to be making a triple crochet stitch in the top of a triple crochet stitch. In this next stitch, triple crochet. In the next stitch, which is the top of a single crochet stitch, we are going to single crochet. We're now going to repeat in the next stitch, triple crochet, and in the next stitch, single crochet. We're going to repeat those 2 steps until we get to the corner stitch. The corner stitch is the triple crochet stitch we made in between those 2 single crochet stitches in the corner in the previous round, and into that triple crochet stitch we will be doing something special. But up until that point we still repeat triple crochet and then single crochet. So I have 2 stitches before my first corner. In the next stitch, it's a triple, so I'm making a triple for this round only. And in the next stitch, the stitch before the corner, it's a single, so I'm making a single crochet stitch. Now I'm at the corner stitch. Into this corner stitch, we are going to make a triple crochet, and in the same stitch a single crochet, and still in the same stitch another triple crochet. And for this round, in the stitch after the corner, the next stitch after that corner stitch, it's a single, we're going to make a single crochet. In the next stitch, single crochet. You go ahead and complete these instructions a total of 4 times. After working all the way around and after working into the 4th corner, come back to the video. I've now worked in all 4 corners. In this 4th corner, I've made a triple, single, and triple, all in the same stitch. And in the stitch after the corner stitch, I've made a single crochet stitch. Now we're going to repeat in the next stitch, make a triple crochet, and in the next stitch, make a single crochet. We're going to repeat these steps all the way until we're back at the first stitch made in the round. You repeat in the next stitch, triple crochet, and in the next stitch, single, all the way until you're back at the first stitch made. I have 2 stitches left to work into. In the second last stitch, the top of a triple, we make a triple crochet. And in the last stitch, which is the top of a single crochet stitch, we make a single crochet stitch. To finish the round, we are going to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch made in the round, which was a triple crochet stitch. Into the top of this first stitch, we are going to slip stitch to join. To start border round 7, which is the final round, we are going to chain 1 and turn. The wrong side of our work is now facing us. We are going to skip this first stitch, the slip stitch that joined the previous round. We're not working into that. In the next stitch, which is a single crochet stitch, we are going to triple crochet. So we're going back to what we did in previous rounds in this border and making the opposite stitch, meaning in a single crochet, we triple crochet. So in this next stitch, we triple crochet. So we're skipping over the slip stitch. In the next stitch, the single crochet, we triple crochet. In the next stitch, the top of this triple crochet stitch, we are going to single crochet. Working in the next stitch, single crochet. Now we're going to repeat the following. In the next stitch, triple crochet, in the next stitch, single crochet. And you're going to repeat those 2 steps until we get to the corner stitch. Simply in the next stitch, triple crochet, and in the next stitch, single crochet. And continue repeating those 2 steps until we get to the corner stitch. In this round, the corner stitch is the single crochet stitch we made in between 2 triple crochet stitches, all in the same stitch from the previous round. So the corner stitch is a single crochet stitch. But until you get to that stitch, keep repeating triple crochet and single crochet all the way to the corner stitch. I've now arrived at the corner stitch. Your stitch before the corner stitch should be a single crochet. Into the corner stitch, we're going to do the following. We are going to triple crochet, and in the same stitch, single crochet, and still in the same stitch, triple crochet. In the next stitch, we are going to single crochet. The stitch after the corner is always going to be a single crochet. The next stitch, single. And now we resume in the next stitch, triple crochet, and in the next stitch, single crochet. You go ahead and complete these instructions a total of 4 times. We've just worked into the first corner together. You go ahead and repeat them to the second, third, and fourth corner. And after completing the 4th corner, come back to the video. I've now completed those instructions 4 times, and I've worked in 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Here's my 4th corner where I've made a triple crochet, single crochet, and another triple crochet stitch, all in the same stitch. The stitch after the corner, I've made a single crochet stitch. Now we just go back to repeating in the next stitch, triple crochet, and in the next stitch, single crochet. And you repeat these steps all the way until you're back at the first stitch made in the round. Simply triple in the next, and then single in the next. I now have 2 stitches left to work into. In the second last stitch, I'm going to triple crochet, and in the last stitch, I'm going to single crochet. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch in the top of the first triple crochet stitch made in the round. Working in the top of this first stitch, insert your hook under both top loops and slip stitch to join. The last thing there is to do is to fasten off. Remove your hook, cut the yarn that's attached to your skein, pull the end through the loop that was on your hook, and pull tight. And now with your yarn needle, weave in all your loose ends. And now you have a new blanket. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoy making this blanket. If you have any questions or if there's anything at all I can do to help, please let me know. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I'd be delighted if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.